I, too, had a warped concept of pure happiness, because I had not yet fully understood the existence of the state of being, as a true inner dimension. We do not have to chase happiness, as we can discover it already available, beautiful and ready, within us. The personal experience I am going to describe may make this concept clearer. Each of us has problems, and I am certain that one cannot truly grow without them. A flat existence without novelty is nothing but stagnation, and where there is stagnation, there is no life, only death. The life cycle is always in constant motion, and there is no living thing that does not move, although it is not perceptible to the naked eye. Those who are used to meditating can better understand what I mean. Particularly when things are going very well, we are in danger of losing all stimulation. Although I felt accomplished, something inside me was missing. Gradually, I found myself living without any interest in the successes I was achieving in the professional field. This was probably because it had already been several years since my first encounter with the light that I was beginning to miss it. My way of being in society was always noticed as an object of envy. My difference to others was attributable to the fact that I did not let things happen and always showed great courage in facing the accusations made against me, never showing hostility toward anyone. I have always strived to accept events and then analyze my personal responsibility, trying to improve myself where it was necessary. Not reacting to uncomfortable situations but accepting them has helped me over time. It cost me sacrifice having started from a non-positive foundation, as most of us do. Many people like me feel different. Others eventually give in for fear of being continually laughed at, or out of a sense of rebellion, bringing in attitudes and cliches, wearing a mask for every circumstance. In my case, this was not the case. Masks I never put up with. It was simply fatigue that was taking over. I thus began to assimilate like a sponge any kind of illness or simple malaise I noticed in others. My defenses were being exhausted, and a great depression was sweeping over me, making my body itself a breeding ground for the establishment of viral diseases accompanied by severe anemia combined with asthmatic attacks, exaggerated forms of hives in an atmosphere of total homesickness. I was certainly forgetting myself. I felt the most complete despair in me, as if I were living in a world I did not recognize, for which I even felt a form of disgust. Yes, I had become ill, but I had no intention of following a traditional way of healing, without first seeking the real causes that I felt in the soul. At that time, I could not understand the necessity of the unpleasant situation I was experiencing. Today, I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that I was receiving another blessing that came to me from heaven just when I least expected it. I planned to leave work for a long period of reflection, and this coincided with the birth of my firstborn daughter. I thus took the opportunity to escape from the working world, which, by the way, I loved as if it were a real creature of my own making, designed in tune with my way of being. Only the blind could not have noticed how much love and clarity shone through in the aesthetic institute I ran, where I was successful. Clients always left satisfied because they received total attention to them. It was not easy, and it cost me a great deal to give up everything. Now, love for my daughter undoubtedly held first place, and every day more and more I had to prove to myself all the courage necessary to face such a transformation. I made the decision after deep meditation. When my conviction reached the right awareness, turned my back on a wonderful past of work success to face the present, so that I could savor all the flavor of newness. Being a mother is the greatest experience one can have when it is lived with love, and I wanted to experience moments of true selfishness, following the growth of my daughter who had become the most precious asset. I had to protect her from the falsehoods of the outside world. I quickly recovered by tuning into all those emotions that only children can give. I believed, mistakenly, that I would never return to work as before and would devote myself only to the family. This could not fit into the deeper plans that my soul needed. I was isolating myself, and this could only be good for that moment. It was not going to be like that forever. Not in my case, because someone was watching to instruct me, and soon I would discover another unexpected contact. Devoting myself exclusively to the family did not give me full fulfillment. I sensed that my commitment had to be global in nature. I was seeking a form of social collaboration. I absolutely wanted to take this direction and often wondered what my spiritual goal was that could go beyond any human concept and ordinary character. I sensed that I had to participate in some important event for the evolution of all humankind. This time, too, I was not wrong to listen to my intuition, and so I stood by. One day, I was overwhelmed by a flood of all kinds of problems. I felt exactly at the cross. The child was in kindergarten, and this situation allowed me to vent in an immensely liberating, desperate cry. But I still had not found the solution to my problems. I started screaming like never before and said exactly these words, and with the exact conviction that I would be heard. But there is no one here. I feel completely abandoned. I can't take it anymore. Someone help me. Perhaps I had only said those words to feel understood, and I certainly did not expect a response. But a great light materialized to my right and began to speak to me in a language made up of sensations that I was picking up directly from my brain system. The content of this message was that humanity was about to go through a great rift, necessary for its spiritual rebirth. He explained to me, therefore, that my way of acting in relations with others had to be uniquely in total harmony with the message of Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, the life, and that when I was able to overcome the difficulties necessary to learn the lesson well, then and only then would I begin an educational work in the world, mentally joining other people but starting from my own town, as a pioneer. I was going to instruct young people, especially in schools, on the important need for purely fraternal cooperation with all living beings. This work was to be done with daily and scholastic commitment, so that then they could be self-educated in the love for universal brotherhood, the indispensable basis for our evolution. The light explained to me that at the head of this awakening was Jesus himself, who was calling those he deemed predisposed to carry out such a task in collaboration with the custodian angels of the chosen people. It should have been clear, therefore, that the chosen ones had free will in the final decision and could therefore refrain from this cooperation. The contact lasted uninterrupted, as if time had stood still while the whole room in which I found myself was bathed in a suave scent of roses that regenerated my whole body, restoring an energy and strength that made me feel in perfect shape, in tune with everyone, and what is more important, united me with the whole world with all its falsehoods. I was thrilled to know that a new world, completely true and joyful, was about to be born, and I certainly did not wish to remove myself from that intense work that had been entrusted to me. Then, as it had appeared to me, the light, and along with it, that contact with I don't know how many angelic entities, likewise went away and the message came to an end. I knew I was not alone. My eyes had been touched by that light, without having felt any discomfort, just as can happen when looking at the sun. My vision became deeper and made clear to me the vision of the ether that exists around us. Since that day, I can see in joyful movement a series of nuclei joined together like so many thin, almost invisible filaments with which I communicate. This experience was totally new to me until that moment. When you think it will never happen again, you already find yourself, as if by magic, happiness, beauty, and the beast. I had finally gone from despair to the much-desired happiness, or rather feeling of happiness. That way of living in tune with the deepest levels of my being had been awakened in me. I was healed completely and without the use of drugs. I wish with all my heart for every reader to one day experience a more vivid contact with oneself, assuring that all experiences want to guarantee us the same thing, and that there exists within us something more than what we think we have. This something is ourselves, in the infinite reality that exists, in an eternal present to be lived in tune with the purest love that is God within us. Long live the power of life. The contact, related to the revelation of the rising age, I experienced it at the age of 32 or so, and it was the late 1980s while Raf was singing, "What will remain of these 80s? Who will take the photograph? What will remain?" I didn't even know where to begin, even though I immediately had faith in what was anticipated about the future of the world. At the same time, a new hope grew in me that led me to no longer see wrong things around me. Indeed, I learned to reject any negative idea or thought that might enter my mind by embracing positive thinking as the creative and indestructible basis in all the events I went through from that time on.